What is going on, guys? The Inside the Blue podcast, and today we have our weekly picks. We're in week 9. These weeks feel like they are flying, and we got another big episode. A lot of weekly picks, a lot of good picks lately. 70 wins, 70 and 49 on weekly picks. I said it from the start that we are going to finish over 500. Still a lot to be played, but a really solid start for us. And we get started in MetLife with the 2-6 Jets. We don't know what is happening. You feel like with the team of how good they are talent-wise and on paper, they wouldn't ever be 2-6. But we live in a world where the Jets are going to jet, and they stink. I just can't understand how you have Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams now, Breece Hall, an okay offensive line, a defense that I feel like is good enough to win you games. They take out Robert Saleh. They say, no more, we don't want you. And what are they, 0-2 without him now? And I feel like with how much I've ranted on the Jets already, it seems like an easy pick. But like I feel like this game sometimes feels like a trap. I don't know why. But we're fading the Jets. I'm not taking them 3 weeks in a row. I can't do it. Getting into another game, Dallas taking on the Atlanta Falcons and Kirk Cousins. Of course, we saw Dallas embarrass themselves against the San Francisco 49ers. Dak doesn't look great, throwing picks left and right. They have no running backs. They activate Dalvin Cook, but he's like older. They have Ezekiel Elliott. Does he even play? It's really CeeDee Lamb show. And quite frankly, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, I don't really know the direction of your team, man. Like, you have Micah Parsons to be paid, and you're already paying Dak $60 million a year. You're already paying Lamb a lot of money, and this is a salary cap league, so, like, don't think Dallas really has much of a shot in this game. And I'm going to take Atlanta to go 6-3. Dallas, their future is not bright unless they have some masterclass drafts or something. But getting into another game, a game on paper, both teams 5-3. Baltimore Ravens taking on the Denver Broncos, and the Denver Broncos just beat up the Carolina Panthers, who, my goodness, are they terrible. And the Baltimore Ravens losing in an unexpected game to the Cleveland Browns. Jameis Winston starts. He has 300 yards. Deshaun Watson, in any start as a Cleveland Brown, has never gotten to a 300-yard game. That's crazy to me. And Jameis Winston does it in his first game, throws for like 334 yards. But Baltimore is going to take it at home. I like their chances. I don't think it's going to be this high scoring. We're going to go with a 30, and no, I don't think they're going to put 31 either. But we're going to go with 17 to, I think they keep it closer, but I'm going to go 28-17. And by the way, I've said it every video. I don't know if I've ever hit on a score prediction. Comments, let me know. But it really comes down to which teams am I picking, and which teams I'm getting correct, and which teams I'm getting wrong. But getting into another game, Buffalo. Buffalo went into Seattle and took care of business. Miami is getting Tua Tagovailoa back. They have Tyreek Hill. But it's really hard for me to not take Buffalo here. I really like Buffalo in this spot. And I'm going to take a 28 bomb from them. 28 score, if I can type. And I'm going to say that they do a pretty good job on defense. I'll say 24 to... Let's go 28, sorry. 28-17. Again, same score. Actually, no, we can't do 3 straight 7 teams. They're just going to get blown out today. Five field goals for them. 28-15 the final. Getting into the Carolina Panthers, who have won one game. And if you told me it was against the Cincinnati Bengals, I'd call you crazy. But it is against the Cincinnati Bengals, the lone team that they've beat. And the New Orleans Saints, who are on a 6-game skid, that's not going to be the case in this one. Unfortunately, Carolina is just not going to get it done again. I really don't know when they're going to beat a team. I really don't know when they're going to beat a team, dude. It's just so embarrassing to watch Bryce Young and how he can't go down the field. They just traded away Deontay Johnson to the Baltimore Ravens, which I think was a good move for Baltimore. I thought Baltimore was going to prioritize defense. That still could happen. They could still make a money move. But as of now, I have the Carolina Panthers losing this game. Really don't care about the score. It really doesn't matter to me. It matters about making the right picks. Las Vegas Raiders going to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati a team. I mean, Joe Burrow said it. They just got to go on a win streak, and a big one if they want to make the playoffs. They think if they lose 7 games, they could still slide into the playoffs, and I think that's a real case. I mean, if we look at this year's playoffs and this year's draft order, a lot of teams have 1 or 2 wins. So, I mean, there's still a chance. There is still a chance. I mean, they got to catch Baltimore and they got to catch the Pittsburgh Steelers, 2 teams that, if all goes well, would have 6 wins. And I'm going to take them this week. I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals to defeat the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the problem with Cincinnati is that defense. Like, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, their O-line is not perfect, but overall, we got to see Joe Burrow try to fight for the playoffs, and that's what I have in this one. Getting into our next slate of games, we have the Los Angeles Chargers on the road taking on the Cleveland Browns, and I know the Cleveland Browns had their great win against the Baltimore Ravens, completely just blanked out. I'm gonna take the Harbaugh squad. I'm gonna take them. I think they're gonna put up 21 points in this one. A few touchdowns from Ladd McConkey, and Justin Herbert's gonna have a day against the poor Cleveland Browns. Getting into a divisional matchup. I think it's our first divisional matchup. I think it is. Washington. When these 2 teams first met, we kind of got the first instinct of Jaden Daniels. Wasn't really throwing the ball downfield. Was playing the quick game against the Giants and using his legs. But my goodness, these last 3-4 weeks, is it? He's been unbelievable. He's definitely been an MVP candidate. He's throwing the ball downfield. He's playing amazing. And it's jealous for me that we don't have a quarterback like that. We have to sit with Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones, I don't know when he's going to get benched. I don't know if he's ever going to get benched. Because I think Brian Daboll, deep down, wants to lose games but doesn't want to make it look like he's losing games, right? The defense keeps his team in it for the most part. And Dexter Lawrence is definitely a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, in my opinion. I don't really know what the Giants are going to be able to do with Washington. It seems like Washington has just been on a roll for it feels like they've been just on a roll for way too long, and it's kind of like they're never going to lose, right? They've lost to, who have they lost to? They've lost to Baltimore, and I don't know the other team that they lost to I really don't know what the other team they lost to. Yeah. But anyways, getting into our next matchup, the Tennessee Titans, 1-6 on the year. They just got stomped by the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions, man, that's a good team over there. But you're taking on a New England team that isn't very good. And I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans this week. I'm going to take them this week. Haven't taken them really all year. Got to find some sort of spot because not every team is just going to start 1-7. I think the Tennessee Titans take this game this week. It's kind of a wash, to be honest, in my opinion. I think this can go either way. It kind of depends how both offenses roll, how the defenses roll. And, I mean, it seems to me like Tennessee has to win a game eventually. And this is the game that they're going to win. And it's against Jared Mayo and the New England Patriots. Getting into our next game, these games are probably the more interesting games, I'd say. I mean, Caleb Williams against Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyler Murray in that squad. And the Bears didn't play great against Washington. Arizona's a team that is having a fighting chance in the NFC West. It seems like it's up for grabs right now. I mean, San Francisco won, obviously. I still have them winning the division overall. But we saw the Rams beat the Minnesota Vikings last week. We saw Seattle get beat up by the Bills. You know, Dallas loses to San Fran, and I'm gonna take the Arizona Cardinals this week against Caleb Williams and the Bears, because like it seems like Arizona has something going with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray. That seems like a real duo. They look good together, and I think they're ultimately gonna beat the Bears, and the Bears are gonna move to 4-2, and if I'm 4-4, sorry. I think they started 4-2 in their first 6, and they're going to drop their last 2 games. Now, this game is probably the lock of the week. I know we usually have a lock for the week. I forgot what it was last year. It may. Oh, you know, I think last week. Sorry, the Chargers defeated the New Orleans Saints. I think that was our lock last week. This week, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia is starting to look like that team again where they just beat you up. I mean, they beat up the Giants with Saquon. They beat up the Cincinnati Bengals, and it seems like Jalen Hurts is starting to play better football. It seems like Saquon Barkley, of course, being the motor of that offense, and Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are, of course, a problem as well. And you put all of those things together, and when the team actually works as a team, and it's not a one-man show, whether it's Saquon Barkley having a masterclass game or it's just A.J. Brown doing stuff in the offense, they can beat up teams. And I think I said that when they played the Bengals, like, this team, if Saquon Barkley cannot be guarded, they're going to run over the Cincinnati Bengals rush defense, and they did. I mean, Jalen Hurts had 3 rushing touchdowns last week, 4 total touchdowns, with the bomb to Devontae Smith was really good. They got to see more of that out of Jalen Hurts, and they improved to 6-2. And Eagles starting to make a race against the Washington Commanders. They'll meet eventually, but yeah, I have them winning. 2 teams that are on the bye this week: Pittsburgh and San Francisco. We got another game. LA Rams taking on the Seattle Seahawks, and I don't love Seattle. I really don't love Seattle right now with how they've been playing football. They really did not have a great game against Buffalo. A lot of missed snaps that costed them points. LA beating a good Minnesota team. Minnesota's dropped their last 2 games. But I'm going to take the Rams on the road this week and improve to 4-4. I think Sean McVay, they get Cooper Kupp back. They get Puka back. They get these guys back, and LA Rams, they could start making some noise in the NFC West. Right, like I said, it's kind of up for grabs right now in the NFC West. And I think with the Rams defeating Seattle in a close game, it could help them. Now, this is probably the game of the week. And where all eyes are going to be attention to. Detroit just beat up the Tennessee Titans. They seem like the team to beat in the NFC. Dan Campbell's got these trickery plays. They got David Montgomery going, getting touchdowns every week. They got Jared Goff catching passes. They're doing everything. Against Dallas a few weeks ago, they had linemen in motion, trying to catch a pass. Dan Campbell is just going to beat you up. That is the coach he is. He's a great coach, and that's what he is. He's going to beat you in different types of play styles, and I know that also is with Ben Johnson and their game plan. The offense is rolling, and they're gonna take this one this week. Probably game of the week, and I'm going to say that Detroit wins on the road. And getting into our final 2 games with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to KC and the game that we're about to break down, the Minnesota Vikings against the Indianapolis Colts. So, if you guys have not known the news, Minnesota has lost their last 2, and Indianapolis is making a QB change. Joe Flacco's going in, and he's taking on Minnesota. Now, here's the thing I have with Minnesota. I predicted some sort of a downfall. I went against them with the Detroit game against Minnesota, and I took the Rams against Minnesota. 2 for 2 now on picks with that. And I'm going to say, why not? Why not have a Joe Flacco masterclass and bet against the Vikings for a third time? We're going to do it because why not? We're having some fun. We're 70-49 with these picks if everything is correct and my math is correct. We're going to take the Indianapolis Colts of an upset. Joe Flacco's going to go in and they're going to beat the Minnesota Vikings, and the Vikings are going to drop to 5-3. And then it's going to be basically a two-man race with the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. But anyways, getting into our final pick, Tampa Bay's got some injuries. Bucky Irving looks fun. I have him on my fantasy team. He got 15 points last week, but he's not going to take over a game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Baker Mayfield's fun, but who does he have to throw to? If I'm not mistaken, both Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are still out. So as long as that is, and Kansas City's got a loaded squad. They just went out and traded for DeAndre Hopkins. Travis Kelce got in the end zone last week on National Tight Ends Day. So why not take the Kansas City Chiefs for an 8th time in a row? I have not bet against the Kansas City Chiefs once this year. And if everything goes right, I'd be 8-0. And I've looked at their schedule. Their only game that I can maybe see them losing is against the Buffalo Bills on the road. Like they take on the Panthers, or they take on all sorts of different types of teams. And they're not like elite teams. Like Buffalo is the best team you're gonna play, I think, in the remaining schedule. So like, are the Chiefs gonna win? Or are the Chiefs only going to lose one game? But anyways, guys, that's going to do it. Of course, KC wins. I'm going to think Indianapolis wins. Detroit wins. LA wins. Not Pittsburgh. Philadelphia. Arizona. Tennessee. Washington. Los Angeles. Cincinnati. New Orleans. Buffalo. The Baltimore Ravens. The Atlanta Falcons and the Houston Texans are all going to win this week. Let's see how we do. We've been hot lately. 10-4 the week before, 11-3 this week. Let's have a day. And anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all for watching, and I appreciate every single one of you. Drop a comment below of what you think of this episode, and of course, leave any sort of comment of any picks that you disagree with. But anyways, that's all for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.